Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking in. It means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today, I feel like over the past few years, there's been this push for racial equity, and I'm using air quotes in the Survivor casting process. And I feel like at face value, it seems fine. It seems like it seems lighthearted and good, right? But I feel like as I've addressed past video on past video on past video, these actions, which may come from a place of genuinely good intentions, do not have backing and reasoning to them. And on top of that, I feel like they just simply have a negative effect on the show. I've seen comments in the past saying things like, where's your argument, or stop with the gimmicks and give us some real facts. So I'm going to do exactly that. I named this video exactly what I wanted to explain, and that's my problem with the Survivor diversity campaign. Before we start, 94% of you guys who are watching these videos are not subscribed. Let's change that. It's easy and it's free. And if that's it, let's get right into the video. Okay, so I feel like the first place that we can start is with the 50% BIPOC mandate that CBS put over their reality program and all of the reality shows as far as casting goes, and also behind the camera. And obviously I've done extensive videos on this as well. I'm doing videos on why I think it's bad, how to fix it. Here's a video in the top right corner on it that I've done in the past. If you haven't seen those, go check those out. But basically what this mandate did is that it made so that at least 50% of the cast could not be white. They were not allowed to be white. They had to be non-white people. And it's weird because this was done in late 2020, and yet the last newbie season, when this was signed into action, was 39. And 39 had a very diverse cast without the mandate. So it seems kind of useless, to me, when I first saw this, I'm like, well, obviously with Lynn Spillman leaving after 38, you're seeing Jeff take over casting a lot more. And it seems like he's casting more diverse casts. And so it seems to me like, okay, let's just leave it in Jeff's hand. He seems to be doing good with this, but apparently CBS felt that they needed to mandate this and make it mandatory so that all reality shows now had to follow this basic way of thinking and way of expressing their show and who's going to be on their shows. And so with this mandate, I feel like we got 41. I feel like the cast of 41 is a direct byproduct of this mandate. And I think it's a very good example of what happens when you force diversity. So when this cast was released in, I believe it was June of 2020, unofficially, the fans immediately realized that CBS had gone through on their promise and mandate of having most of the cast not be white. And so obviously they didn't go back on it. And so they are staying strong in what they think is the right thing to do. And as viewers of this channel have known, over the past 7 months of doing this, I've actually been a really, really big champion of this cast. I loved this cast, and keyword there is loved. I had liked this cast when it first got announced unofficially, when the official cast reveal got dropped during the season, and really up until about a month ago is really when I've had time to reflect and realize that this cast is not what we thought it was going to be in June and July and August. It ended up being something a lot more there isn't really a word for it. It's disappointing, I feel like it is the word. It seems really good on paper until you actually play the season out and you really find out who these people are, and they don't really seem to be that fun or likable or just nice. Like, I don't know, it didn't seem like a fun cast with a fun vibe. I feel like seasons like Cagayan or David vs. Goliath have a cast full of like decent, like really, really good people, like decently good people. Some are villains, some are heroes, but they're all like at least good people who you're able to identify with, whether it's on a villainous side or a heroic side. But again, to talk about this, I feel like we need to take a step back to when the cast was officially released. And when the cast was officially released, I was like, oh my God, okay, this if CBS is going to basically force unnecessary and ironically racist diversity mandates on Survivor, I feel like this is the type of cast that I want. If we're going to do this in a bad way, at least give me a cast that's this cool, because they all seem like such interesting people, especially compared to casts like 36, 38, and 39 who had a lot of questionable newbie picks. I feel like this cast seemed a lot more promising and really like the best cast since David vs. Goliath, or best newbie cast, I should say, obviously excluding including Winners at War. And of course, this was around, that June, July, August period where, when we had learned about this cast, and we were just so excited. And me specifically, I was just so ecstatic to finally get a cast, because we were so worried that the show would, go on for 2-3 years without pumping out a season, and they were able to do it. They were able to get a season out, and apparently 2 seasons out. And so now we were ready for the season 2 premiere. And really, for me as a fan, it was such an exciting time, because you were like so scared that the show might actually go off the air or something like that. But no, they had gotten their 2 seasons filmed, good to go, ready. So even if the world goes into Armageddon for the next 3 years, we at least have these 2 seasons. And so with the season on the way, I felt like my love for this cast was like extremely immense. And if you saw me online, on Reddit, even on YouTube, you could catch me saying all types of stuff about how this cast is going to be like the 2nd or 3rd best newbie cast of all time, maybe behind Kaguyan or David vs. Goliath. I was so confident about this cast. I thought it was going to be amazing. I thought that there's no way that this cast doesn't deliver. It looks amazing. There's only like maybe 1 dud, or maybe 2. Everyone else should just seems like a type A character, or like a S tier character. Everyone seems so cool. And then the official cast reveal came out. And by official, I mean like CBS's questionnaires and interviews with the players pregame came out. And I started to realize what was going on, and what this cast was going to be about. Because, just like their race was on this season, I was expecting a cast that was also diverse in thought. You see people like Brad and Sydney, and even Sarah at first glance, or even like Abraham. And those are people who you feel like may not be necessarily in the quote unquote woke crowd. And then you do have people like Evie and Shan and Ricard who seem like they would be. And it's a very, at first glance, you're like, okay, maybe it's it's a thought diverse cast. Maybe they have a lot of diversity in thought. I was very wrong, and that's really what hit me like a brick wall, was realizing that this entire cast thinks the exact same way. Maybe other than a few exceptions, maybe Sydney, maybe even Brad thinks the same way as they do. I mean, it just seems like this whole cast was made in a lab to just have the exact same opinion, other than maybe a few of them, and it's just so obvious. And so while I was expecting a cast that was going to be diverse in thought, I ended up getting a cast that basically had the exact same opinions as each other. And obviously, they would definitely support something like a diversity mandate. And so it's funny, like the cast was made from a diversity mandate, and they would basically all support that. And so it's like they aren't diverse. They're diverse in skin color, but not in thought, experience, etc., etc. And when you have a cast that all thinks the exact same way and just seems to be like puppets for production, this is what you're going to get. And honestly, going back to an earlier point, this is my problem with this mindset of race being the most important thing about a person. It's not. Diversity in opinion, thought, education level, age, financial status, these are more important types of diversity. And if you've noticed, all of these are things that can be boiled down to a person's individual experience. And if you can't realize that, I feel like you're part of the problem. I think personally, what I will go through, what I have gone through, and what I'm going through right now shapes me as a person more than the color of my skin. And I think that this thought, that me as a young Black teenager, I identifies more with someone who lives and has the interests that are similar to me, and that I don't just identify with people who look just like me, scares people who are at CBS, people on Twitter who are wokesters, quote unquote. It scares people who happen to make really, really bad / non-existent Patreon content. If you know, to me it scares those types of people, because the idea that I'm not going to fall into their box of how I'm supposed to think or what I'm supposed to relate to, I think it scares them. And I feel like that's a good thing for us to think differently and not be put in boxes, to think with our own individual ideas, and to be able to rationalize our opinion, and not just hurl insults, or not just use emotion, and instead using facts, and using statistics, and using actual things that actually happen, not things that might happen or could happen or you think should happen, but things that have happened and will happen. And so I do hope that Survivor does correct its mistake and go back on this mandate, because I feel like, to me, it doesn't help us. It doesn't help us move forward as a society and get past this division that we're in right now. And instead, it only fuels it by literally being racist right back the other way. So that's my personal opinion. Again, guys, that's it, guys. I tried to write like a little mini script for this one. Usually I like to go off the cuff, but I just wrote maybe a little bit more notes than usual. So tell me if that's something that you guys like and want me to do more of in the comments. Again, guys, none of this happens without you guys. Without you guys, I'm just a weird guy speaking into a weird microphone. And if that's, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.